Okay. Going live, going live.
Doing it live. We have 200 YouTube subscribers.
Whee!
All right, ready when you guys are.
218, is that what we're on?
Yep, looks right.
Okay.
Wes, you ready?
Ready.
What's up, Internet? It is time for your weekly dose of geek. This is the Making Geeks podcast, a podcast for makers, families, and geeks.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Happy Thursday, I guess.
Yeah.
You guess?
It's happy.
Every day during my live meets with my students, have a whiteboard that is part of our meeting. We use a different platform other than like Zoom or Google Meet. And every day I put, good morning coders or animators, whoever I'm teaching, and I'll say happy whatever the day is. And it's become kind of routine, but it's been my desperate attempt to try to keep some sort of energy and positivity up. So happy Thursday. It's almost the end of another week. And this morning, I usually message you guys around 11 o'clock at noon just to double check that we're recording for the day. And when it came to be that time, I'm like, it's Thursday already? This guy blinked my eyes and it was Thursday again. So
Yep.
I'm pretty quick. So what have you guys been up to? It's been 7 days. Anything new going on?
Yeah. I think I have trouble remembering what the last thing I talked about on here was. Does anybody else have that issue?
You were talking about the droid that you're putting together.
The droid, okay.
The droid and the drone.
That's right, the drone. That was last week that we were talking about.
The drone, okay. So I got further on the drone thing. So I've been playing. Last week, had I played the simulator yet? I don't think I had.
I think you talked about it, but you hadn't played it yet.
All right. So within the last 7 days, I have been able to connect my flight controller. It's like the transmitter, like the RC controller, to my PC with a USB cable that I bought, and it lets me play this game called Liftoff, which is available on Steam, and it's basically like a first-person view simulator for drones. You select the drone you want, you choose like the maps, and they have different like layouts. One's like a construction site, which is pretty cool. So it's got like a parking garage and other things that are in the area. And it's got cranes and heavy loaders and all these things. So you fly around and up under things and do all these different acrobatics. And you're using the same controller you're going to use for the actual flight. And so I was using that, as a lot of people do, as like a trainer to get me used to the controls and the timing, and the physics are pretty good. And you can kind of simulate like a fisheye view, and then you can have this other overlay so it simulates what the view will actually look like in the goggles. It looks like a crappy VHS tape that needs to be tracked with like the text where it says like pause and that like super blocky white lettering that kind of shakes. It looks just like that. And so you can simulate everything in there. And so I got pretty good. I was able to flip into the acrobatic mode and do flips and inverted things, and I felt like I was able to pick it up pretty quickly. And so then over the last 3 days now, I have flown the actual drone in my backyard. This was 2 nights ago. I flew it like before it got really dark, and I'm holding up the drone to the camera here. So if you were actually in the chat, you'd see how small it is. It's only, let me hold it down here.
That is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I get that a lot. It's 3 inches across. Got a tiny little video camera on the front, and it's got a video transmitter. It transmits to a pair of goggles, which are not as small. They look really stupid, but they were the cheapest and best rated ones for this price point. So they look really weird. My glasses do not fit when I put this thing on against my face, so I have to take my glasses off. So I'm a little bit just like the difference in focus is a little bit to throw me off just by itself, let alone having the out-of-body experience flying a drone as you see yourself. So you're like focusing on the screen, and or trying not to move your head, and like I'm sitting down like while I'm doing this to not get like motion sick or whatever. And I it's trippy because you see yourself as you're flying by, but then if your camera is not facing in the right direction, you'll hear it. Like it's like weird sensory things. So you'll hear it before you see it, and sometimes you'll see it before you hear it in your actual real ears versus like an audio like speakers or anything like that. And so basically I was flying around the backyard, and I was like, oh, how hard could it be to fly over the house? Well, why not? So I flew it over the house, and as I get to the front yard, the signal starts like dipping out because I guess the signal is going through my solid house to get to the front yard. It's like a line of sight or whatever. And so the video signal starts dropping out, and I'm luckily able to land it in the grass soft enough, so I go through the house and start flying it up and down the sidewalk and around the front tree and like around the front porch. And then fast forward that evening, I was able to fly it in the basement. I've got like a little central HVAC room in the middle of my basement that has like a staircase attached to it. Kind of that's what goes up into the main part of the house. So I have like a loop that I can do in the basement. And so I was able to fly it indoors, which is a little bit more constrictive, obviously, than outside. And then last night, I went over to some other fellow makers that listen to the podcast, Nicole and Turi. I went to their apartment, and Turi has gotten me into this. It's his fault, 100%. He has the same drone and a similar headset as well. We went to a local park before it got too dark, and we were able to fly them like out, like in it with a huge field area. And that was great. Oh, my batteries are charging. That's nice timing there. So you hear that beeping. My LiPo batteries are getting ready to explode. No, they're finished charging. Sorry about that. But we were able to fly them last night, zipping around, and it was a ton of fun. And I highly recommend it. The total investment is just under $300. So it's like $80 ish for the video, the drone. It's around $100 for the goggles, and I had the controller already from previous project where I was trying to do some RC stuff, and I think that was around $60 as well. So not too bad. It's like entry level but good enough. And the one thing I'll say, and I'll let someone else speak, is that this is like the rare instance of an expectation matching reality, which is rare, I think, because the thing I think of as like the most prominent example of where this did not hold true was when the Wii came out. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome! Like people were playing tennis and bowling and doing all these things with the Wiimote. Oh, this is gonna be cool. And you're like, well, this isn't exactly right. It's not like a 1-to-1, translation of how awesome you expect it to be to how awesome it will be. At least that was my interpretation of that system. This was exactly like how the game simulated it was going to be, and the real world experience was on par with that, if not better, because of all the other extra sensory out of body experience that you're having. And it was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what I'm geeking out about a lot. So
is it kind of like a Ender's Game moment?
I guess so. Yeah. I'm getting ready to be like transported to a spaceship to save like a alien race because I'm the only person that can fly it, kind of thing.
So is this going to be a precursor to you getting like a Mavic FPV drone and being all professional with it, or is this just kind of a one-off hobby?
That's a great question. I can see potential of me using this sort of technology more for other things, especially for my channel, for getting a common use of the makers and stuff using drones in their channels to get more cinematic views of me spray painting crap in my my driveway. I guess I don't know. I don't really do anything out and about that really would warrant it, but I would definitely use it wherever possible, especially if I have a little drone that I can fly around in my workshop. Like that would be weird to see me cutting.
I've been working on this Link's Awakening doghouse for way longer than it should have taken to get done. But one of the things I really wanted to do was try to find a drone to like sit in the air to have the same kind of angle of me building the doghouse that you would
Oh,
have like
in
playing
the
in the
game,
game.
that would be cool.
I've only got one shot. It was only one shot because my dad let me borrow his drone, which is like a really nice drone, for like 5 minutes, to get this to get this one shot. So I have one shot that's like commensurate with what it would have looked like if it was in the game.
Right, like
But
view angle, right? Yeah, 3/4 overhead
yeah,
view. Yeah,
yeah. So the
that's
drone
cool.
is like 20 feet up in the air and the angle is down.
Yeah.
And in the video, I've put bars on the top and bottom and have blurred everything out of focus to give it that like tilt shift
Yeah.
look like it is in the game, and trying to match it as best I could. And I was hoping to have a drone for the whole process, but it ended up only being like one shot.
So with the goggles, did
Yeah.
it make the experience better or easier to fly it?
So my previous experience with a drone is not very extensive. I have a little. It's a cheap white one I got on Amazon. It was like $40, and it doesn't have first-person view. So you're actually trying to fly as you imagine yourself oriented with the drone, right? And it would always be easy until the drone comes at me, and I'm not used to flying RC stuff. So then the controls are opposite, because it's like oriented towards you instead of away. So like when you go left on the controller, the thing's going to go right relative to how you're facing it. So it was a little weird. Doing it with first person, it's way more. Man, sorry about that. It's way more. I'll have to mute that. It's way more instinctual, especially if you're used to playing like flight sims and other games. Um, because it does feel like you're like miniaturized, like Ant-Man flying on the front of this thing. It really does. To the
Pretty
point
cool.
to the point where we're zipping around really fast that I feel if I move my head in real life or stand up or sit down or move my actual body when the drone's not matching my movements, I feel I might get like a little queasy. I'm not sure. I usually don't get queasy as a general oversimplified statement for stuff like that, like motion sickness. I don't usually get motion sick, but I could see that happening with this because it is tilting and like flipping around like crazy, and it's just weird.
If you ever want to try that though,
Yeah.
please have somebody recording you
Yes.
so that if you if you go off into the TV or like whatever, you can post that video and go viral.
That's
From
true.
that experience.
That's true. I might need a new TV, so that'd be a good way to get one.
It broke. It just
I don't know what
happened.
happened. This drone's sticking out of it. It's weird.
Donovan, what have you been up to?
I've been up to uh everything all at once. I had a really cool conversation the other day. I am working on a God of War project that I'm collaborating with two other makers on, and I am so excited for this, but so overwhelmed by the process of trying to collaborate with two different people in two different parts of the country, and trying to figure out how to make one project between three people. And I think we've got it figured out, and I'm super excited for it.
Very cool. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It is going to be the heaviest tool cabinet I think anybody has ever seen. Because what I'm doing is I think I've talked about this before. I'm the murals that are in God of War where you open it up and it has like the story of you know Tyr or Odin or different characters in Norse mythology. Well, I wanted to turn that into a tool cabinet, but still keep the figures and the carvings and whatnot on the doors, and then have it recessed back so you can hang your tools in it. And so I'm going to be making it out of cherry because they have baseball bat blanks, these 3x3 by 36, just solid pieces of cherry that I can buy. And then I'm going to mill some rough hewn cherry and make the cabinet and the doors. And then I have Brett McAfee from Skull and Spade that is going to be braid lacing all of the metalwork that goes on the doors and on the inside and the hinges. So one of the things that we talked about in our video chat was figuring out how to make metal hinges to sit in a door that wrapped around posts, but also attached to the door, and then like how to decorate them, all this other kind of stuff. And between the cherry hardwood, which is a hardwood itself, and all of that metal, this thing is gonna weigh 100 pounds. But it is gonna be the coolest looking tool cabinet ever, I hope. Because I'm still gonna do the designs and the carvings on the posts and the figures on top, and I'm gonna do the character designs on the doors, and I'm gonna use gold and silver foil, leaf foil, to decorate them out as to get them as close as you might think to the game, to look to make it look like how they did it in the game. And so, like I said, between all that, it's an awesome project, especially just the process of learning how to collaborate with different people on one project.
Very cool. Sounds fun. This last week, I ended up not making anything new, but I ended up redoing something of an old project. For a video a couple years ago, I had found I find stuff in my neighborhood all the time. And this one time I found these cast iron table bases that were just getting thrown away because something happened to the tops. They were probably glass tops or something else that were destroyed. And people throw this stuff away all the time. So I got them and I made new tabletops. The one of them I used basic construction lumber for it and did like this flag pattern on the table. And within a year, the table was almost like blown apart just because of the wood movement and stuff. So I fixed it once already, and this last week I basically stripped it and then refinished it, and it'll last another season or two. And when I was doing this, I didn't really want to do it as a full video, so instead I've been experimenting with Instagram Reels, which I always tend to be late to the party when one of these apps implements some sort of new feature, just because I I hate how quickly things change and trying to learn new stuff. But anyways, I've been messing with Instagram Reels and get a fairly modest return, except that it's weird compared to a lot of other types of posts. It seems like they have a 24-hour cycle of getting attention and showing up in people's feeds, and then it's like dead. It's like nobody sees them again. So I mean, if that's the format, then I could learn to work with that, and I might be doing something more with that. But what I also want to do, and this is going to help transition to what we're mainly talking about today, is I want to start experimenting uh, using that same format, but then doing it with the YouTube Shorts and seeing if I could get a similar response, even if just a quick turnaround of views, because I think they have a limited, probably, exposure. And before we started recording, the three of us are talking about how to maybe maximize some output over the next month. Everybody is struggling on YouTube right now. Numbers are down, and we're all trying to figure out ways to kind of keep the ships afloat.
Prime the pump.
So the three of, yep, prime the pump. And we decided that we were going to do a. Did we come up with a name for this? Of what
We
we're
haven't yet. That's really bad marketing on our parts, isn't it?
It is. It is.
We're so unprepared.
We need Mark for marketing, right, Donovan? I mean, is that what you usually say?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, for
Well,
lack
I
of a
guess
better term, it's like a 30-day challenge, essentially, um,
The month of June, right?
for the month of June,
Yeah.
where we're gonna try to do our best to make a video once a day. So 30 days worth of videos for the month of June, where you make something or show something or teach something or show, just demonstrate. Obviously, there's not going to be like super elaborate projects, which is fine because we're trying to push ourselves in like rethinking like how we're maybe doing our own videos as well, and sort of. I know personally I get hung up on a lot of the minutia of the video that ends up making like a seemingly simple project take way longer than I originally expected it to. And so this is sort of a shot in the arm or like slap in the face or whatever you want to call it to sort of break myself out of that. And I know that having more videos out would only do good right now. So, and if I can help motivate someone else or get someone else to help motivate me, we hold each other accountable. I think that would be pretty sweet. So,
Yeah, I think our channels are in a really interesting category in YouTube in terms of audience size because we're sub 100,000 subscriber channels. Well, I'm even sub 20,000 subscriber, and I think that when you're at a channel that size, it's really hard to keep up with the channels that are pumping out content because they have full production crews behind them now, and where there's still from an audience member might be an equal expectation to have the highest quality, fancy graphics and all that, when it's basically just us in front of a camera still, almost still doing an old school YouTube way. So I have a theory that because a lot of our videos, I mean, the way that they appear in people's feeds is based on the number of views and popularity and stuff like that. But the YouTube algorithm, I think, also has to do with how often you're posting. Still, I think that's still a pretty big component. Because I haven't posted a video in 3 months, I'm already assuming that my channel is probably not getting recommended as much as it has in the past. So by kind of flipping this, especially in a pretty significant fashion, I'm wondering if that's kind of like a little bit of that, jolt and jump start to help feeding it again. Otherwise, my channel is going to be pretty much on life support.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of right there right now, which is hard since I went full time with this, and so this is my job now, and this is the way to support my family. So I'm not hyperventilating at all. You're hyperventilating.
And it's frustrating I mean, I know it's frustrating for all of us, but we've all had pretty successful videos. I mean, not as many as we would probably want, scale wise, but we've all had various levels of success with certain videos. It is really hard to engineer a video for success that way unless you have a pretty dedicated and diehard audience. So instead of chasing, you guys hearing that? That's weird. Anyways, instead of trying to, I'm hearing like another, maybe like an echo again. Anyways, instead of trying to chase something that is viral or bigger and better and kind of like just outlandish, I'm hoping that by quantity it's going to help elevate.
The Neistat effect.
Yeah, I suppose.
We'll call it that.
and a lot of the inspiration for this comes
I
from
was going to bring that up too.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, let's go
An
for it.
older
Go for it.
channel that is a maker that we are familiar with. We met several years ago now that did a similar thing. It's probably like 6 years ago, I think. Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, and by the name of David Welder. He would frequent a lot of Jimmy Dress's earlier videos. He would show up, and I think it was like a shop assistant for a
Yeah, he
short
worked
amount of
with
time
him.
as well. Yeah, and then he went and took a vacation to Italy to visit another smaller maker as far as like channel size, went by the name of Jaco. Whatever. You guys know who we're talking about. Who now is much bigger, and they basically gave themselves 30 days to make one video a day of various topics and making things and exploration things and just an assortment of different content for 30 days. And I think even at the end of the 30 days, they made themselves like trophies to celebrate the completion of this challenge, which was pretty cool.
That's day 30's project.
Yeah.
It's a trophy
Which I like
for
that.
having done 30 days.
Yeah. And I remember, as you brought up earlier tonight, Sean, when he did that, his channel definitely got a huge boost from just the sheer amount of traffic he was generating, and he was constantly sending people over to see Jaco's video, and Jaco would send up over stuff over to David's as well, and so it was like this constant cycle of stuff. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So and Sean, it could be one of those things where you repurpose everything on Shorts and Instagram and Reels, and then you can just sign up for TikTok and post everything on TikTok too. Then you could be famous on every platform.
Still anti TikTok. I don't know.
So am I.
I think I posted like one or two things, and I just can't get on board with it. I'll do Instagram and YouTube. I will not dedicate anything to TikTok. But that's
I
me
can
being
understand. I can
that
understand that. I was very anti TikTok for a long time too.
that's just me being a grumpy old man.
Yeah. Well, like my reasoning for getting onto TikTok was that I didn't see much of a future with Instagram, which is kind of weird to say, but it's like um I don't have any growth on Instagram, and the only thing Instagram is for the community and community building, but not for audience building. Whereas I realized TikTok is where all the eyeballs were, and so TikTok would be a better avenue to try and expand my audience and build an audience than if I tried to go in full bore with Instagram. Because there's a much harsher algorithm on Instagram that there is than there is on TikTok. So it's easier to get your stuff seen on TikTok than it is on Instagram.
No, not being a commentary on you, but the standards for TikTok are really really low.
Yeah. So all you have to do is make something, halfway decent, and there are people in
Or
the
take off
making
your clothes.
community. Yeah, well, that too. But there are people in the maker community that had Wes.
I was just thinking about it. It's a quick million views.
But there are people in the maker community that have done insanely well on TikTok. Insanely well.
Who's doing well on TikTok?
Well, like Oak and Feather is doing really well on TikTok.
So well, I've never heard of him.
Stevenson Creative, the one that does all the LED signs, like the lit signs, is doing really good on TikTok. Big Dad Mahoney is doing really good on TikTok. Like the people that have not gone over, because they still do stuff on Instagram, but have joined the TikTok crowd, have done really. Nicole and Turi are on TikTok now. Like a couple of their videos have gone viral on TikTok, even though they've only been on it for like 3 days, 4 days, 2 days, something like that. So it's possible to find at least a new audience to some of your old content. If nothing else, just repurposing old content to find new viewers for it.
Yeah. That sort of happened in a way with me already. Now that I think about it, for a handful of my videos, as a, for long-time listeners, you would recall me mentioning this partnership that I had several years ago with Fatherly, which is a parenting platform that is on Facebook primarily. They also have a website and blog and all that stuff. They, just like a lot of other aggregate pages, they like contacted me to want to like regurgitate like a video, for their platform, and they'll give me credit or whatever, like a lot of places do. Like was a Board Panda and a bunch of others like that. But theirs is a little bit different. Instead of just cutting it down, they would often put in like captions or some other text on top of the video to give it more of a story, with as they cut your like however many minute video down to like 30 to 60 seconds, and like distill it down and had like a little narrative on top of it. And they did a really good job. Like they had some really good video editors at the time, and the videos that they wanted to do this with of mine, they were already ones that had like passed their prime. So like I figure that there wasn't any downside of them doing all this work as long as I said sure. So I was like, oh well, sure, whatever. And that did lead to some other things with Fatherly, but it actually did expose a little bit to another audience, which I thought was cool. And I saw other people commenting on the videos, and it kind of was just another way to interpret the same video and sort of look at them in a different way, which was kind of cool. So I can see the draw of this. It's sort of the same idea. Well, for another platform, but showing it to another group of people that otherwise, might not see it because you're lost in a sea of content. I guess I don't know. And I think those videos did pretty well. Like several of them got like a million views or so on Facebook, which I can't say the same for any of my videos on Facebook that I personally put out. So, and hey, I'll try anything for 30 days. Let's try it. At the point now,
Oh gosh.
We'll put that in the promotional material. We'll try anything for 30 days.
Try anything for 30 days.
Yep.
It reminded me of this other program, or it was a TV show. I think it was called 30 Days. It was Morgan Spurlock. You guys
Morgan
like
Spurlock,
him?
yeah.
He's one of my favorite filmmakers. He did Super Size Me and a bunch of other things. He's done tons of different little video exercises, but one of them, he would take on a job or do a thing for 30 days. It was a show on a cable channel. I don't remember which broadcast network it was on off the top of my head, but it was I can't recall, but you can find it. It was really good. Yeah, he would, like, one of them, he went to prison for 30 days, like I think it was in West Virginia or Richmond or something like that, and they actually like had him like do the whole thing. Like, they didn't treat him any differently in prison, and then he does like a lot of interviews for like a lot of his stuff, and so like,
and they had a camera crew in prison.
Like, he had a minimal stuff with him. Like, he would set up and he would do like a more vloggy style. I think he set up static cameras in different places to make it less intrusive, to get more of a realistic thing, just to get like an understanding in different people's like situations or shoes. And like one of them, he did like minimum wage for 30 days. Another one, he did like vegan for 30 days. Just a bunch of random different things. He lived with like people that were not in his most desirable, like, how do I say it? Like, I think he lived with different people from different cultures that normally he wouldn't happen to be in their household, right? Just, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do like a Muslim kind of thing for 30 days, or I'm gonna pair up this one. And it wasn't always him, but he was like taking one person from one like culture or environment and putting them in another place for 30 days. So they took like a guy who was like a stereotypical like redneck kind of guy from like Alabama and had him live with like a Muslim family for 30 days just to see like the conversations that would like spool up, and interviewing it, both sides of that coin at the beginning and at the end. I'm kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but sort of the point is it was inspirational, and it's a good way to kind of get outside the comfort zone to force yourselves to do something, including make videos one day each day for 30 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more I say it, the more I don't want to do it, but that means I should probably do it.
We've committed now.
Yeah.
Too
So
late.
before we started recording, we had talked about so each day we're gonna send some sort of message to each other about you should be working on your next video or something along the lines to kind of encourage us and kind of keep us going, and hoping that all of you will be following along for the ride. We have no idea where this is going to lead or what the result will be at the end, but it should be a fun journey. And
Donovan's having a panic attack.
Maybe just a little. Sean made a good point. My filmmaking background definitely does get in the way, and I'm finding it hard not to try and get in the way. I gotta push it. I gotta push that down.
Here's the nice thing though, is that the three of us have made enough videos now that we know the process. So, I mean, we're not fumbling through that. We have a pretty standard baseline of just simple recording. And for most things on YouTube, you have a decent looking image and you put yourself in front of the camera, and that should be about 80% of it right there. We're going to probably have to limit and be a little bit more creative of still making something that looks visually interesting without having to add on a lot of time of
even though my face is on screen.
Are
you suggesting you need like special effects makeup or what?
Yeah, that's right. That's what Instagram, like, the filters are for, right?
Yeah.
The webcam
just
filters.
Start doing filters on everything.
Or just use the stupid automated Apple emojis talking, like the bunny face instead.
Yeah.
Or
Dude,
the big one now is like anime eyes or manga me or something like that. Animate yourself. Just make it easy. Gosh.
meanwhile, some of the
We
bigger
can do
channels
this.
now, I think it was Marquise Brown or somebody else was doing a demo of a robotic arm holding a camera that would automatically follow around. That's what we have to compete with now.
Yeah. Yeah. Marquise MKBHD.
Or wherever,
Uh,
yeah.
it's it's I'm I'm excited at the prospect of what is going to come of all this because it's getting outside of my comfort zone, my quote unquote comfort zone that I've built over the last 4 years, which is good. And I would really like to get not away from the Ninjago audience, but expand my repertoire beyond the Ninjago audience, and hopefully this will be a good way to do that. Wes will no longer be the K40 guy. He can be whatever he wants to be.
That's right. You don't own me.
That's right. You don't know me. I mean, it is, gosh, it is sad that it's like that. Because I just uploaded a new video a couple days ago making the Lego Ninjago Oni masks as a little, or it's basically just painting laser engraved walnut. That's all it was. Super simple, nothing extravagant, whatever about it. But I got more views in the first 14 minutes after posting that video than I have yet to get on my Muppet movie theater, which is 1,000 times better project and better video. But
See, that's the most difficult thing right there, is our opinions don't matter. And it hurts
yeah.
sometimes. My favorite projects that I know are superior videos, just they don't get watched.
Yeah. And it's hard because like a majority of my subscriber base are Ninjago fans that are just waiting for more Ninjago content. And when you upload a video to YouTube, it first shows it to a select number of your subscriber base to see how interested they are in there. And if it does really well with that initial group, then it goes into an expanded group of your subscriber base. And if it does really well there, then it starts to feature your video and suggested to a larger audience. But it's just getting past those first two humps. And right now, like I have, I don't know, 60,000 subscribers, but honestly, most of them are Ninjago. So if it's not Ninjago, it can't get past those two ports of entry, just like my Muppet my Muppet video, unless it's something absolutely ridiculously huge like the Playhouse.
So hold on, I need to do a search now. How to pander to my audience. Okay, got it.
I'm not trying to pander to. I'm like, I do
Well, I am.
realize, like, I
If that's the way it's gonna
understand.
work, I need to.
Yeah, I understand the fact that it's like I do need to make more Ninjago content because it does insanely well. And I'm okay with that, but I don't only want to do Ninjago content. And so I at least need to expand my audience enough beyond the breadth of Lego Ninjago to be able to put out a video and have enough of my subscribers react well enough the first 30 minutes it comes out that it then can get pushed into recommended to the rest of the world.
So that means you need to start doing Ninjago crossover videos. So do Ninjago Borderlands crossover, evolve into
On Chick-fil-A
Borderlands,
cows.
evolve into Borderlands, and then Link, Zelda, and then just merge them and piggyback.
Yeah. See, the thing about like the God of War project, super excited about that project. It is going to be an amazing project. I don't want it to bomb. And so maybe this will help build up that subscriber base enough that when this amazing project that's been a collaboration between 3 different people comes together, that it will do well enough to make it worth the time and effort that all 3 of us have put into making this thing happen.
It's going to sound like a little bit of a challenge. I don't know how many of your Ninjago audience is very keen on God of War.
I don't know. The thing is,
Kid
it's like,
Lego versus adult violence and nudity.
I feel like there's enough fandom in each of the different properties that I make projects on that my video would appeal to Borderlands fans or God of War fans or whatever. But it's just trying to figure out a way to get them to see my stuff. And my Ninjago fan base is part hampering that ability. I love you, Ninjago fan base. Please don't leave. I will make more stuff, but I'm just saying. I'm excited for that. The more I talk about it, I'm getting more excited about this. I'm not hyperventilating as much as I was.
The night is young.
So, so aside from our venture that we're starting out on, what are you guys geeking out about this week?
It's a little premature, but I'm geeking out about Loki series coming out. They're starting to pump out more and more promo trailers and stuff for it, and it's looking pretty sweet. Comes out on June 9th. Also, A Quiet Place 2. I really want to go see that. I enjoyed the
Never
first
saw
one.
the first one.
Oh wow,
Is it good?
yeah, it's really good. Highly recommended. I usually don't like horror stuff at all, but it's very smartly done, and it's done in a way I hadn't seen before, like for the original one. And so apparently he didn't want to make a. John Krasinski wrote and directed both of them, I believe. He didn't want to make a sequel, but he found a story that a way to spin off the original story and tell it in a compelling way. And it's been getting pretty good reviews and stuff, so it looks pretty interesting, and it's only available in the theaters, so that's also compelling.
Yeah, you want to talk about smart marketing? John Krasinski himself is going to different theaters around the country and crashing the showings and doing photo ops with people and all this kind of stuff, or sharing it on social media, getting people excited to then go to the theater, then see John Krasinski, to then what you like.
Mm-hmm.
That is smart marketing.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the first one, I highly recommend it. Seek it out. It's good.
I'll look into it. I am geeking out about, and I think I talked about this before, but I'm geeking out about Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. I think the last time I talked about it, I had only watched the first 2 episodes, but then I think it was last night or the night before I watched the rest of it, and I absolutely loved it. It is, it may not be for everybody. It's some of it's pretty violent. There's a little bit of nudity and sexuality in it. I don't think it's over the top, but it's present. It may not be for everybody. I love seeing all the different takes and all the different creativity in terms of telling a story, but telling it in a really interesting visual form. And it is, except for one actually involved a lot of live action. In fact, it starred Michael B. Jordan for one of the shorts that I thought was really interesting. In fact, what's funny is when that one episode starts and you see Michael B. Jordan coming up to a door, which is the beginning of the episode, my wife's like, is this real or is this CG? Because of everything else that came before, you couldn't tell, and you were questioning what was real and what wasn't. But then I saw him like, no, that's real. She goes, how do you know? I'm like, my eye is still trained for what is CG and what is real, and it's a very, very thin line at the moment for telling in some of these, but they were all really well done.
It's an anthology series, right, where everyone is different.
It is. They are all different. They don't connect whatsoever, and I kind of like that. They're these individual bite-sized stories, but they're full stories. They're fully realized, and 1 or 2 of them I would actually kind of like to see as a full, like a full feature. I think it could really work. But the rest are 5 or 10 minutes, and it's perfect. I love it. The other reason I'm bringing that up is that this last week, my wife and I, kind of piggybacking off of last week's topic about what we let our kids see in movies and everything. My wife and I went through and watched all 3 Matrix movies again, and then watched the Animatrix, which is their it's almost like a very early version of Love, Death, and Robots, which was pretty good for the time. But we've come a long way. I think the Love, Death, and Robots really is the spiritual successor of the Matrix in many ways, and it's probably why I love it so much.
With you going back and watching the first movie, Matrix movie specifically, are you more or less inclined to have your kids watch it, like shortly
Yeah, so
thereafter?
that's still a really really interesting question. My wife wants to let my son watch it at the end of the summer because we watched it and it actually was not as nearly as bad comparatively than what I thought when we first watched it. It's still really violent, but the main issue of the violence are the headshots.
Hmm.
It's not, they show blood, but it's not gory. They don't show brain matter. They
It's
don't
like
show like
stylized.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not really graphic at all. But the violence is there. I'd even posted a question on Facebook about some people's perception of violence. So I compared like Infinity War to the Matrix because Infinity War is still a pretty violent movie, and it's even more intimate because of what happens to certain characters. Even like the death of Loki is pretty graphic and holds a lot of weight at the front. So I was wondering about people's perception of that versus the Matrix and how people justify. And I was asking because I'm still not sure. Something still makes me not want to let my son see it. Maybe it is because that looming R rating, although that's somebody else's qualification of the movie, not mine. But yeah, I'm still a little bit undecided, but it's not nearly as bad. If he did happen to see it, it would not be the end of the world. But I don't know. I still might make him wait.
I've been so busy, I don't know if I'm geeking out about anything. My wife was watching a movie last night, and I sat in on the last half. It's a Will Ferrell movie called Eurovision.
I haven't seen it
Have you
yet.
guys seen that?
Not yet.
It is a complete Will Ferrell movie. It is utterly ridiculous, but it is fun. I had fun watching it. So if you're in the mood for something completely ridiculous and you like Will Ferrell and are a fan of Iceland, watch Eurovision.
You lost Sean
All
and
right.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Watch
I'm,
it.
I'm not a Will Ferrell fan. I've liked a few of his movies, but overall, I don't really care for him in general.
On that
There's a
note,
lot of people in this movie. I do have to say that. My wife and I are like, are we supposed to know who these people are? Because every popular like pop star and European star and all the like, it is a very powerhouse loaded movie. So if you're into that kind of stuff, like you'd probably at least recognize more people than I did. Sorry, I totally derailed whatever momentum we had going. I'm sorry. You're
I
welcome.
had a terrible segue I was going to use, but it's not viable anymore.
I can cut it together if you want.
That's fine. Speaking of geeking out, I do want to geek out a little bit about our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for helping us keep the show in there each and every week with their contributions. You guys are awesome. We enjoy interacting with you on our Discord server, on our Valheim server. It's a lot of fun getting to know everybody, including our top 3 patrons, Square Splinter, Clinton, and Jordan. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for your support.
So the next 30 days is going to be interesting for all 3 of us. So if you want to check out all of the craziness that each one of us is going to be up to, please go and subscribe to each one of our channels to see this breadth of new content that we have committed ourselves to tonight. So if you want to follow Sean and everything he's going to be up to, you'll find him at Geek Builders. Wes, you'll find over at Geek Smithing. And me, you'll find at Once Upon a Workbench.
If you'd like to reach out and make some suggestions for the show, or maybe even a possible topic that we'll cover in the future, go ahead and check out our website, makinggeeks.com. There's a contact page that is a perfect place to leave that suggestion or recommendation for a topic. On the homepage of the site, you can listen to all of our past episodes conveniently right there in your browser of choice, and also cruise on over to the merch page and see what wares we have available for all of you. And think we're going to be adding some more things this summer. We're still in the planning stages for some of those items, so just check all that out at makinggeeks.com. And we'd like to say thank you to everybody that is joining us in the live chat. It always makes the episode and recording the episode live on Thursday nights a lot more enjoyable and fun with a little bit more of that feedback that we have there. You can find new episodes of the podcast every Saturday morning-ish on your favorite podcast player of choice. So from all of us to all of you, have a fantastic week.
See ya.
See ya.
See you guys in June.
What have I done?